Yep.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock and it's time on our calendar for our weekly business meeting. If you'll stand, who wants to do, Bob, you want to do the opening prayer this morning?
Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this country we live in, Lord. We just ask you to give guidance to the Board of County Commissioners for decisions they make in the best interest of our county and our community, Lord Father. And we just thank you for this day. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. And you follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Okay,
Who's up?
Mr. Chairman, I move to remove EMS item number 1, action item discussion decision regarding lease contract, Columbia Bank ambulance purchase, and add emergency management item number 1, declaration of local disaster emergency flooding resolution 20-35.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment from anybody? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the order of agenda as amended.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, it's time for public comment. Do you have anybody on the? We do. Okay, we have one of them as an employee. So now is the time for public comment. If you were online, it looks like Susan Drumheller wants to speak. We'll recognize you. Please make sure you state your name for the record. You have 3 minutes. Can you hear us, Susan?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I think I might have missed your amendment to the agenda, but I wanted to speak about the flood insurance program.
Sure.
First I wanted to say I couldn't find your agenda online, so I'd like to request that you post your business agenda online.
It's online.
It's
Our
there.
website.
I couldn't find it, so it's not
Did you go
easy
to the Bonner
find.
County website or?
All I got was the virtual instructions for how to join the meeting, and I could find public hearing agendas, but I couldn't find the business meeting agenda.
Yeah, it's on the same form that has the information on it to join the meeting. Isn't that right? Just scroll down.
Not that I could see.
It was right to the left of it. So
Right to the left of it,
there,
yes, it says.
has a date, and then that's one document, and then the virtual meeting instructions are the other document.
You hear that?
Okay, well, I'll have to look again because I couldn't find it. No, there's just the instructions. There was no agenda listed. I'm on the website right now.
Well,
At any rate.
I was able to see it yesterday from my house, so you're burning up 2 minutes so far, Susan.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to say that I'm concerned about the news about pulling out of the National Flood Insurance Program. The county's discount appears to be shrinking because of the county's rating is dropping to a 9, which is the lowest rating you could have. I'm wondering what caused this and why we are back to the lowest ranking. And I'm concerned that dropping out altogether is just a precursor to opening the floodgates, so to speak, to development in areas prone to flooding, which could have a lot of unintended consequences. I think this should be more than just a bean counting exercise, and I would encourage you to look into it further
Okay. Yeah,
and
and I
maybe
think,
have
I
a
think if
public
you,
hearing about it.
if you stay tuned and you hear what we're actually doing, we're not getting out of the flood insurance program, but if you stay tuned and listen, you'll see what we're actually doing. So thanks for your comment. Anyone else have a comment? Anybody in the studio audience here? Dan?
Dan Rose for the record. Last week, I spoke to the issue of attorney Darren Murphy not being responsive. And in that vein, he's held an item of mine through the prosecuting attorney since May 1st. And we're at the 26th and there's no resolution. And the problem with that is that to null and void information due to a public meeting, open meeting violation, a 30-day requirement is attached to that. So when I say it's not responsive, that 30 days is running out, and then there's no enforcement action that can be taken. Second to that, the reason that Murphy is involved is for a potential conflict of interest with a prosecuting attorney. And under open meeting law 74-2408, it states that if the prosecutor is deemed disqualified for any reason proceeding to enforce this act, the prosecuting attorney or board of county commissioners shall seek to have a special prosecutor appointed for that purpose, provided in section 312603. And 312603 requires the prosecutor or the county commissioners to go to the court and get an appointment made by the judge based on cause. That is not happening. And the problem is Attorney Murphy is paid by the county. And I assume it's under the memorandum of understanding, which you guys have with him. And as far as I know, if that memorandum of understanding wasn't changed in this past year, it stated for sheriff personnel issues and other department personnel. So this isn't a personnel matter that Darren Murphy is contracted for under the memorandum of understanding. And you are paying, or we are paying for Murphy's advice to the prosecutor. But that is being done in violation of 312603. And so I wanted you to know about the responsiveness, but also about the process in which that's supposed to happen so you can pay that bill legitimately. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And we'll look into that.
And if I can submit this for the record, just so you have. a copy.
Sure. Okay, thanks. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
Hearing none. Let's go ahead and move on to consent agenda.
All right, Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, planning. Milton Alderton.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'll be taking two of the items. First one is amendment to section 11-105, contents of a building location permit, letter B. Currently, the ordinance states applicants for building location permits for commercial, industrial, public, and residential structures or buildings other than building mounted signs or freestanding signs not greater than 64 square feet and not greater than 10 feet in height, measured from grade to top of sign. Single family or duplex residential shall also provide a copy of building construction plans stamped by an architect or engineer licensed in the state of Idaho. We're asking that the board remove this sentence and then amend the second sentence, removing the words for commercial, industrial, public, residential structure buildings, including single family or duplex residential. So yeah, we're asking, so what happens is somebody comes in for a commercial structure permit, say to put in a one of those coffee stands, and they're using a prefab structure and they bring that in. This code requires that coffee stand be stamped by an engineer. So, and then there's other things. The gun club out in Sagal wanted to put up an extra high fence to provide an extra barrier. They had to go and get engineer stamp plans for that structure. Just seems over the top. We do not review those stamp plans. We don't have any code that we review those against some sort of standard. We don't have any building codes adopted. So they're asked to provide engineer stamp plans to what standard? We have no standard in our code that they should submit those to. So it just seems unnecessary for us to be asking for those stamp plans when there's just nothing in the code to review it. No reason to review it. There's nothing to review it to. So we're asking to remove this sentence and amend the second sentence.
And any commercial department of building safety, that's under their wheelhouse anyway, so it's not under ours.
Right, the State Department of Building Safety does require some things. I don't know that they require this.
No.
But
Okay,
So motion and then discussion or,
yeah, let's do a motion discussion.
okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion based on the information before us to approve ordinance.
Name later. Do we
To
number
be
later?
named later, amending Bonner County Revised Code Title 11, Section 105B as presented.
Would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Yes. So it's much broader than that though, right? It's residential also. It's everything. Is that correct? That's the way I read it.
Well, at the other, in the parentheses, it says other than, and then at the end of that, it says single family or duplex residential. So they are excluded in those parentheses.
Yeah, other than building mounted signs. Single family or duplex residential.
They are, but
Okay. I thought that just is talking about the floodplains, and floodways. But anyway, my concern, I guess, is that, yeah, even though we don't review them, if you require it, then it has, it has the stamp on it and then it's, I'm all for reducing regulations and fees that have no real basis. But isn't this the only thing that guarantees or that it will be engineered?
it doesn't, it guarantees that they'll turn in a document, but we don't inspect it. We don't
We
go out
don't
and
know
make
that
sure that
it's-
they built what they turned in.
Right. Yeah, we don't have a building
I
department.
don't do
I
anything.
understand that. I'm pretty familiar with this, but I just don't understand, I guess. So by not requiring an engineered drawing, then that it opens it up even more, that it could be possibly just drawn on a napkin and built, which
Well, again, we
We
don't
don't.
enforce it in any way, so.
we have no way of.
Even if they turn in an engineer stamp plan, I have no way of knowing that that's what they actually built.
Yeah, when I built my house, I turned in a full set of plans stamped by an architect and an engineer, and it was like, hey, thanks, but we don't need this. We don't have a building department. Without a building department, there's no point. If we had a building department, then they would verify that the structure was built according to the stamp plans.
Yeah, I get that.
But what happens is the collateral damage is it's causing some owners to do extra work at extra expense they would have normally not have to do, for like a coffee stand or a fence.
Yeah, but that's a great couple of real easy examples. But I mean, what about the day-to-day stuff? What about the stuff that we're dealing with every day?
Well, I'm not sure what that means, the day-to-day.
I mean, those examples were.
Those are, and you're right, the motel in Schweitzer, they're gonna do that, engineering because their insurance is gonna require that, not because we require it. They're gonna do it for their shareholders or their corporation or whatever.
Yeah, and they're going to live up to whatever Department of Building Safety says as well, but not because we are demanding it, because we don't have the ability to inspect.
But doesn't it kick it back to compliance with Title 14, which is the code? Doesn't it kick it back to the code? Doesn't it say that in compliance with the code?
Title 14 is the floodplain code. And so they
Are you talking about the International Building Code?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't adopted the International Building Code.
Yeah, we haven't adopted it.
But what are they engineering? What standards are they engineering?
Exactly. Probably to state. State is, I think state's 2015
Yeah.
or 2012
I
IBC.
think the 2015 now.
Yeah, it's one of the two,
Yeah.
2012 or 2015 IBC.
Yeah, I understand the dilemma both ways. I mean, it looks like, for me, that, you're reducing the amount of paperwork you have to go through and hoops you have to jump through on one end of it. But it seems like it could create a little bit of a problem, but I guess if we don't know about it, then it's fine.
Well, there's a portion of this that really is owner's responsibility.
I get it.
Yeah, I was very meticulous when I built my house and made sure that everything on the plan was there. There's outside inspectors you can hire since we don't have a building department, so.
Oh, I understand. that.
Yeah, so
I
it's
know
just,
how it works.
yeah, it's just more of a nuisance than an extra expense. Because there's an expense in getting that engineer stamp.
The biggest challenge is, like I said, for these accessory structures or these smaller structures, that's where we're running into the challenge. So while it's going to go away in the short term, we will look at it again if we form this committee. So question is, what do we do with that document once we have it? Right now,
Right.
just
Noted.
scanned into the computer.
Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay, next one, Milton.
So the next one then is we're asking the board to form a committee to review Title 11, mostly just to update it and see if there's any changes that need to be made. So it was first written in 1997. It's had lots of changes. Most of the changes that are made to this code are as needed. The biggest difficulties that we run into with this code is the definitions differ from Title 12. And so a structure requires a permit, and then a different type of structure requires certain setbacks. In other words, the definition of structure in Title 11 and in Title 12, they don't match. So your structure may require a building permit, but it may require different setbacks, or vice versa. It may have to be set back, but it may not require a permit. It just causes confusion in our staff and in trying to explain to the public when a permit is required or not. So this will be an opportunity to sit down with folks in this industry who build, who work with this code, to sit down with the planning department and give us ideas on what would work best for them, and see if there's ways to update this code to make it be more flexible, make it makes more sense. So.
Okay.
All right. Based on the information before us, I move to authorize the planning department to advertise and begin the process for the board to appoint a building regulation committee to assist in reviewing and updating Title 11.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or comment? I want to make sure that anybody out there, I don't see any hands being raised. Anyone in here? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion passes. Okay, next item. Jason.
They gave you a book to read.
Yeah,
Thank you, and good morning, commissioners and everyone. We are here today to discuss the National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System, the NFIP CRS. Just for the record, this is not the National Flood Insurance Program. This isn't a proposal to exit the flood insurance program in any way, but we'll get into the differences in the presentation. So the NFIP CRS is a voluntary program. It is a part of the National Flood Insurance Program, but it's not a program any community ever has to participate in. It's an incentive program that recognizes and encourages community floodplain management activities that exceed minimum NFIP standards and requirements. As a result, flood insurance programs can be discounted to reduce, to reflect the reduced flood risk that's resulted from certain community actions. We joined the NFIP CRS in 2011. We were in the flood insurance program decades before that, but we joined the CRS in 2011. Every year, the county is responsible for recertifying in the program, and every 5 years, we go through a big externally audited recertification process. This process requires us to create, update, and maintain the extra records to verify that we're up to standard in the CRS program. We're currently at the start of that audited program requirement right now. We're currently in good standing with the NFIP CRS. We're currently a Class 8 community. There are 10 classes. Class 10 is no discount at all. Class 1 is the most elite class you can be in. There's only like a couple communities in America that make it. Currently, Bonner County is a Class 8 community, receiving a 10% discount on flood insurance policies in the county. One thing that some people are a little surprised about sometimes is that there's only 108 policies currently in force in the county. Getting that 10% discount for a community-wide savings of $10,453 annually currently. Based on phone conversations with Marlene Jacobs, our CRS manager, it's likely going to require 80 to 100 hours of staff time, probably over the next month, in order to recertify in this program. Annual recertification probably requires an extra 20 to 30 hours of staff time a year. This does not include the maintenance of the records throughout the year. This is just the preparation of all the data to send in to CRS. Due to changes in the CRS scoring system, the CRS manual rules, changes to Bonner County zoning codes, based on the conversation, it sounds like we are almost certainly going to regress to a Class 9 community no matter what we do. This regresses the county to a 5% discount from the current 10. There is also no guarantee that we will make a Class 9 status. Being in the CRS does not in any way guarantee a discount. It guarantees the opportunity to apply for a discount.
So Jason, if I can interrupt you a second. So what you're saying, I want to make sure it's important because I know Susan asked this question. So the actual change in scoring was due to that they changed their scoring system.
That was one of them, but we're going to go into it. There's
Okay,
more
good.
changes too. Yeah, that was one of the big ones, is that the scoring system itself has changed. Other reasons right here. Last time we only just barely made it into a Class 8 community. One of the reasons is we got a growth multiplier on our score of 1.18. Because of low population growth right now, that's dropped to a 1.01. So before we even start doing anything at all, we're 17% behind our previous score. As you said, also changes to the CRS manual that we went over make it clear that it's going to be harder for us to qualify for points this time around. Our raw score is also going to start out lower than it was 5 years ago. Best case scenario is that we drop to a Class 9 community. As previously stated, Class 8, 10% discount, Class 9, 5% discount. Our current discount is $10,453 per year annually. So currently $96.79 per year savings per policyholder for 108 policyholders in the county. Right now, what that comes out to is each policyholder saving on average $8.07 per month. But this $8.07 per month is dependent on us maintaining a Class 8 status, which does not appear to be possible. Because it's not going to be possible, in all likelihood, a 5% discount results in $5,226.50 annual savings for 108 policyholders. 108 policyholders breaks that out to $48.39 per year, or on a monthly cost, remaining in CRS is saving $4.04 per month for 108 property owners in the county. This is dependent on us making a Class 9 status, which is not guaranteed. Due to recent zoning code changes, it is possible that we will not qualify for a discount at all. As previously stated, the discounts are not guaranteed. So the NFIP, the National Flood Insurance Program, and then NFIP CRS, National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System, are not the same thing at all. The NFIP that we are going to remain in, there's no talk of getting out of that at all, is not designed to prevent development. It's designed to say how development should occur. This differs from the NFIP CRS, which is designed to limit, restrict, and prevent development, as well as requiring development to meet higher optional standards. The NFIP CRS restricts and is intended to restrict how the county manages its zoning, zoning code, and density decisions. Participation in the NFIP CRS is optional. There's no consequence for non-participation except for the loss of the previously mentioned discounts, which there's no guarantee we're going to keep anyway. The CRS coordinator's manual is 641 pages of extra voluntary rules and guidelines that Bonner County has to currently operate under as rules. The National Flood Insurance Program, which we're not talking about getting out of, is designed for all communities in the nation. The NFIP CRS, the way it's structured, there's no real conclusion you can draw except that it was designed primarily for larger communities with many in-force insurance policies and large amounts of floodplain development. We are none of those things. The NFIP CRS is designed to steer participating communities toward adoption of building codes, which we do not have. Without an enforced building code, no matter what this community does or how hard we work, we will never qualify as anything better than a Class 6 community. It's just a hard cutoff. Doesn't matter how many other points you earn, you'll never get better than that. And the NFIP CRS, many communities that participate in it also have full-time CRS coordinators separate from their community floodplain managers, which we do not have. In our last recertification cycle, where we made a Class 8, open space and low density zone scoring credits were our primary scoring categories. recent changes to the zoning code, such as the number of RVs that are allowed on a parcel, recent zoning changes made under certain files, such as AM 00819, have resulted in density increases within the floodplain. This will reduce or possibly eliminate some or all of the points in our primary scoring category last time. The CRS restricts communities from decisions such as those that we've been making, and places additional regulatory burdens on landowners, including limits on subdivisions and density restrictions. Multiple applicants have run into this recently. So as previously stated, the purpose of the NFIP CRS is to restrict communities from enjoying full control over their zoning and density decisions. It's intended to restrict landowners from enjoying full control over their zoning and density decisions, even if those decisions would otherwise be consistent with all Bonner County rules. The NFIP CRS doesn't appear to be consistent with the priorities, values, or needs of Bonner County, just based on recent zoning code and comprehensive plan amendments that we've been making. Bonner County, clearly, we desire to make our own decisions on density and zoning, such as with the new RV ordinance. And I believe Bonner County wants to allow landowners the freedom to make their own decisions, provided those are consistent with applicable local rules. If we exit the NFIP CRS, we get back our local control of zoning and density decisions in the county with a frankly very small cost. We might lose 404 per month for 108 properties. It's very possible we're going to lose this anyway, regardless of how hard we try, but the worst possible case scenario is $4.04 a month for 108 landowners. It'll save us 100 to 200 or 80 to 100 staff hours now, probably 200 plus hours over the next 5 years, restoring our local zoning and density decisions to the county, and allowing landowners the freedom to make their own zoning and density decisions consistent with our local rules, rather than some optional rules that are applied from the outside. That concludes my presentation. If anyone has any questions.
Great, thanks, Jason.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to instruct staff to begin the process to withdraw Bonner County from the Voluntary National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating System, NFIP-CRS, with the intent to restore local control over zoning and density to Bonner County. I further move to grant authority to the chair of the board to sign the required official CRS withdrawal letter of intent, which will be generated by staff. I further move to instruct staff to mail this signed CRS withdrawal letter to Marlene Jacobs, CFM, Senior Floodplain Specialist with Versic Analytics, to complete the process to officially withdraw from Bonner County from the voluntary NFIP-CRS program. This action does not result in the taking of private property. And I can tell Jason wrote that.
I think you're trying to compete with Steve Clapp for longest motion.
I'd second that.
Are you seconding that Jason wrote it or that his motion?
All the above.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All it was missing was some numbers. So any question or comment from the those watching at home? We have Susan raise her hand. Susan, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand, it sounds like there's some real challenges with trying to keep a class 8. Obviously I don't know all the details, but one thing I want to say is that the comment that was made about the values and, being consistent with the desires and values of people in Bonner County, I think it's been expressed over and over again in sub-area planning meetings and other venues and surveys that people really want to maintain their rural character of this county. And I think low density is part of that. And, some of the decisions that are being made, I don't think are consistent with that desire that people have in our county to retain the rural quality. And so I guess I'm a little bit concerned that by not trying to reach some of the standards that this program creates for us, just kind of, again, opens the floodgates to more development, more density, perhaps over time, hurting the rural character of our county. And I think, you know, some of the actions that's been taken place with the changes with the zoning codes and whatnot, to allow higher density in rural areas and whatnot, that's partly what's causing problems here. So that's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Jason, you want to respond to that, or does it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can respond to it. And rural character is certainly important. Unfortunately, the NFI PCRS was never intended to do that. And if you're relying on NFI PCRS to maintain your rural character, you've got a problem because it's not going to do it. It was never intended to do it. As far as maintaining rural character goes, it's certainly important. And that's one of the reasons why we have active subcommittees going right now with sub-area planning. Many of them have adopted rural character definitions as their first order of business. And they consider that, frankly, every planning session that I've been to. That's the forefront of what they're doing. And that's a tool that actually has the ability to achieve our goal.
Right.
It just, the NFI PCRS just wasn't intended to do that, unfortunately.
Right, exactly. Dan.
Dan Rose for the record. First I want to say Jason's presentation is great. It's probably the best presentations I've seen in my attendance here, and well explained as well. The cost obviously is going to be an issue of $20,000 to $40,000 that you're going to have to put out over the next 5 years for nothing at all. Actually, for a loss of ownership and regulation of that these subcommittee groups are already planning to do. I don't think
Absolutely.
Outside interest telling us what we have to do and have to pay for that at the same time. Thank you, Jason.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Dave, can I add for the record? I think I'm agreeing. It seems like a lot of work for the little amount of financial gain that the people in the county get. So I mean, we could spend that 100 hours probably doing something that would be way better for our community and our county. Thank you.
Anyone else watching at home or anyone in the audience? Nope, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Good job on the presentation.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Had all the information we needed. Okay. Recreation, Nate. How was Garfield Bay's camping this weekend?
Busy,
Loaded?
but yeah, people were enjoying themselves.
Good.
All right, so what I have attached for your consideration is the land use permit number LU 200042, allowing Bonner County to maintain facilities, improvements, and trails on Idaho state lands in the Hayes Gulch area. Trails include approximately 10.6 miles of mixed-use road and trail, together with approximately a 0.23 mile recreation trail that is non-motorized. Facilities will include parking lot, a mobile toilet, and kiosk. The permit is $1,500 annually, whereas the first payment will be December 1st, 2020, and will be valid from the 2021-2022 season.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve and sign administratively the Idaho Department of Lands Land Use Permit number LU 200042 that will allow Bonner County to maintain facilities, improvements, and trails to Idaho state lands in Hayes Gulch.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? None. I'll give it a second here for anybody out there with questions or comments. No? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thanks, Nate. Thanks, Susan. Okay, Sheriff's Office. Commissioner Wheeler.
Pay them to maintain their stuff.
Yeah, I know. We're
Correct.
gonna pay them to maintain their vault square.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That's the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Martin?
Good morning, Maddie. I have before you a new contract with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. The Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE, is entering into a new contract with the Bonner County Sheriff's Office for detention and maintenance of ICE detainees. ICE will pay the county up to $686 for detention and maintenance of ICE detainees at the rate of $98 per inmate. The previous rate was $60 per inmate per day for the base period of performance of 6/1 of 2020 until 5/31 of 2021. Then there are 4 potential yearly option periods of performance, which could continue till 5/31 of 2025.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve the agreement between ICE and Bonner County for the Sheriff's Office to provide detention and maintenance of ICE detainees. ICE will reimburse Bonner County up to $686 at a rate of $98 per day per inmate between June 1st, 2020 and May 31st, 2021. Thereafter, there are 4 potential yearly option periods of performance.
I would second that.
I'm like, you kind of left off there. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment?
I thought you were waiting for me to say ICE.
Dan
one more
Rose.
time.
Again, Rose, for the record, $686, is that a monthly amount or
Yearly.
one time yearly for that one individual?
No, yearly contract of 686. We house very few ICE inmates, very, very few. So
So it's $686 plus a rate of $98 per day per inmate.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none and hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Darrell. Root and Ridge, Mr. Klatt.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Steve Platt for the record, from Bridge Director. We have 2 items. The first one is purchasing sand from a private gravel pit, Curtis Creek. It's the area. We also have a gravel pit that we went in and made sand in last year after using what we'd had in reserve. Had a really slow go. We found it was a poor quality material on our own pit. And this year, what we'll need to do in that pit is go in and do some serious exploration. But to do that, we need to have an operator in there working, and we just don't have the time this year to do it. We do need to have this sand that works Clagstone, Bayview, everything down on the southern extremity. Jeff asked me the question about, could we pick it up from Blanchard? Well, Blanchard is 12 and a half miles from there. That's about an hour around. It just is not practical. This is something, given the nature of what this year is, this is affordable sand that will cover that same area.
All right, I move the Board of Bonner County Commissioners approve the purchase of sand from Curtis Creek Sand and Gravel to service the southwest roads of District 1.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or question? Discussion or question? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Okay, Steve, number 2.
Number 2, a little road at Priest Lake that it's one of those roads when we were dealing with ceasing winter maintenance where we could not find a suitable turnaround. This is a little road that we had maintained. The private residents had paved it some years ago. Over the years, our equipment in plowing it had banged up the asphalt, and this was negotiating our final maintenance of that road, going into repair the damage that we did to their asphalt and ceasing maintenance of that road.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move the Board of County Commissioners accept the bid of Woods Crushing and Hauling for $13,910 to apply an 1.5-inch asphalt overlay to repair Adams Road, concluding our service to this road.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, Human Resources. Cindy Baker.
Good morning.
Morning.
Cindy Baker, Human Resources. We have today before the board a request for a revision to Policy 200, pre-hire and onboarding. We had some discussion recently around part of the language, and that has been redrafted to say that during the period of which the deoccupied position remains vacant, the clerk shall make journal entries monthly reflecting the wage payment expense in an amount identical to the last wage payment made to the last occupant of the said position. The purpose of this journal entry is to remove spending power from the department in an amount equal to the period the position remains unfilled. This practice furthers the overall policy of the BOCC, reducing budget inflation caused by fully financed unfilled positions.
Okay.
And hereby make a motion based on the information before us. I move to approve changes to policy number 200, pre-hire and onboarding to the Bonner County Personnel Policy Manual, effective May 26, 2020.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm just saying, I know most of the offices in the county, Sheriff Wheeler for the record, that most of the counties and the offices, or most of the offices in the county operate on a 9-to-5 basis, and they know how many employees they have, they know how much business that they have to do. I can say in years past, EMS, the sheriff's office, those offices that are working 24 hours a day, a lot of time don't have any control over their A budget because they have a lot of overtime that they have to pay. And I can tell you that in years past, we've come very close to exceeding our A budget because of that problem. So I just want to make note that this could in the future have a problem with some of those agencies that depend on using the leftover A budget money to pay for the overtime because they cannot fill positions or hire positions to fill them.
Yeah, we actually plan for that in here, so.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, we covered that. And the money doesn't technically go away, it just gets sequestered. So we have still have the ability to go back and it's a ledger entry thing, so. Anybody else? Nope. Sure, Dave, you don't have anything? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And with that,
We have emergency management.
The add-on.
oh, that's right, sorry. You're right, it's right in front of me. Bob,
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Iyer for the record.
man, I was getting ready to go to the bathroom.
So Thursday, May 21st, we started receiving calls about some flood events going on in Bonner County. So I contacted Commissioner McDonald and he verbally declared a disaster declaration for that purpose. And so before you today is the declaration itself to be ratified by all three commissioners or two remaining commissioners that did not sign it on Thursday.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, based on the information before us, I move to approve resolution 20, you got one?
35.
35, there it is, down below, sorry, and declare the local disaster emergency exists in Bonner County due to snowmelt, warming temperatures, and rain resulting in flooding.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And now we will go ahead and recess the meeting for, let's give it 10 minutes.
Guess I couldn't see it.